Hello and welcome to AVID Media Composer. In this video, I plan to show you the user interface and get you a little familiar with the software that we'll be using for this course. Media Composer is the industry's most widely used non-linear video editing software. It is a tool used by countless editors worldwide in projects large and small. So let's get to it. Go down to your dock and go ahead and launch AVID Media Composer. And as it's launching, it's going to take a few moments, but you'll eventually be presented with the Select Project window right here. And if you look, it's sort of categorized in three different sections. The very top, the first section, is the user profile. And that is sort of unique to each editor. And as you get more seasoned in AVID, you'll start to develop certain tools that you like to use, certain things that you gravitate towards, and you'll create that unique style. Okay, that's part of your user profile. The next section gives you three different options: private, shared, and external. The private button is meant for one person, one editor, one project on one computer. Okay, so think of it very singular. The shared button in the middle here is meant for one project but multiple editors on one computer. Okay, they might have different login accounts, but it's one computer, multiple editors. The last one, external, is meant for projects that can be accessed anywhere. Could be a server or an external hard drive. So I'm going to go back to my private button, and if I look down at the last section, select a project, I have a project I created over here. If you look to the right here, it gives you the information about that particular project, the project type, the color space, and so forth. Now before I hit OK, I want to also bring your attention to the new project window. And if I click on this, it's going to open up the new project window. And the first thing you're going to want to do every time, you're going to get used to this, is name your project. And you want to get used to doing something like your last name underscore the project name, okay? And then to the right of that, you're going to pick your format. So you want to base your settings to match the majority of the footage that you're going to bring in. So hopefully you know already what you have shot it in, whether it's HD or standard definition. And then you're also going to want to pick the aspect ratio, whether it's 4:3 or 16:9. And then you would hit OK, and it would show up in your project window. I'm not going to do that at this point because I already have one created, so I'm going to hit cancel, and then I'm going to select this Marquez demo and hit OK. And when I do, it loads up, and we're going to see a few things. So if you've never seen AVID Media Composer before, just kind of take it all in. There's lots to see here. But this is what this video is about, to get you comfortable with what we're seeing. At the very top here, you'll notice that there's a composer window, and each window has sort of a little title to give you an idea of what that is. If we click on it, you'll notice that AVID highlights it for us. That becomes the active window, and the composer window is set up of two different windows. The left window is the source monitor, and the right window is the record monitor window. The record monitor is exactly what is ever on your timeline. So the timeline creates your sequence. It has everything that you've created for that particular project, and it kind of will make a little bit more sense as we get forward and we get some video clips in there, but you'll get the idea. To the left, bottom left here, I'm going to click. It activates that window. This is the project window, and this contains everything that your project holds. All your videos, but not just videos, titles, music, graphics, anything that you want in your particular sequence or your particular project will live in the project window in a bin. Okay, so if we look just briefly, let me zoom in here. If we zoom in, if we look at this bin, we notice that it defaults the bin name to the project name. Okay, and if we look, that icon, it looks like a little square with a couple of, it's supposed to be film strips. Right now it's black. The minute we open it, double click to open it, it turns white. If we want to make a new bin, we can create a new bin here, or go into the fast menu, it's also called the little hamburger menu, and choose new bin as well. I'm not going to do that right this second. I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm going to open up this bin. You can also, if you notice these tabs, there's all sorts of things that happen in this project window. And one thing to note, if by chance you happen to close this project window, I'll hit the X it closes your project and brings you back to select project window. So just keep that in mind. If that happens, no big deal. Go ahead and click it, open it once again, and just so you're familiar with that. Now I'm going to open up my bin. I'm going to double click and you'll notice it turns white. And the first thing you notice, you'll have to do some sort of reorganization of your windows. And you can do that by clicking and dragging the bottom right hand corners of windows and positioning them by the title and moving them where you want. I particularly like my bin to be at the top left. So I'm going to position it, sort of reorganize my bin so that it fits neatly in the top left. Once I do that, I want this part of my user profile. So I'm going to go up to Windows here, Workspaces, and right now do you see how the source recording editing is checked? If I click Save Current, now my windows will always appear in this exact location. My Composer window will be here, my bin will be top left, my project window bottom left. So to me, that kind of makes sense. So if we look, let's just kind of take it all in. The bin itself holds all of your files. You can have multiple bins. If you look here, I'm going to double click on one of them here. And when I do, it loads it into the source window. So the bin and this source window are connected, okay? You can also click on this icon and drag, and it loads that particular clip. Now we're only seeing that one, okay? But we could load the other one, and we could see kind of all of them if we wanted. Now if I had, these are all videos, but if I had some audio files in here or some music, I'd probably make a new bin, name it accordingly. So let's do that. I think there is one here. Let me look. I don't see it. But if there was, I'd make a new bin. Let's make a new bin. You can also do Command N, and it makes a new bin, and by default it names it whatever your project name, and then bin 1, bin 2, so on and so forth. You want to change that. Don't keep it the same name. Okay, it'll drive you nuts. So if you're going to go ahead and organize, I mean, might as well go ahead and organize it. If you got, say, you could use different bins for audio, for interviews, for B-roll, so on and so forth. You can go crazy with however many bins you want to do. Not too crazy, but just enough. If you notice, my audio bin is black, and so it is not open. Okay, the minute I close this bin, it also turns black. Okay, so I'm going to move that. I don't know why that didn't save, sadly, but it's good because sometimes that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save, Command S. I'm going to try this again, Workspace, Save Current, and then we're good to go. Now, if we look at the bin itself, the bin has a lot of different things here, and actually what I'm going to do right now is pull it out just a little bit so you can see the whole thing. It's got quite a bit of information here, and if the first thing you'll notice is that there's a couple different options, different ways to view it, okay? At the very bottom, there's a text, a frame, and a script view. Right now we're in the text view. If I go to the frame view, you'll notice now we get a little visual. If we hit Command L, it sort of moves them a little bit larger. And then we can go to this fast menu here and say fill window. And now they fill window a little bit bigger. You can use this sort of frame view to identify what's happening in your files. So let's look at this one. If I click on it and hit the space bar, you'll notice this starts to play. You can also, by default, it shows you the very first frame of that particular clip, and that might not always be the best representative of that clip. So you might want to go through and see, maybe the best one. Once you hit pause or the space bar again to pause it or play, then it'll stop at that, and I can see this guy's drinking his coffee. Okay. The last view is the script view, and you could do things like add some descriptions in here. If, let's say, you're working with a different editor and you wanted to say this one needs to be reshot, or we need to color correct this one, you could add that kind of information in the comments area. You can also search, you can sort. There's quite a bit you can do in the bin window. Let's go back to the title, the text view. I'm going to squish this back together. And that's pretty much a little bit about the user interface. Okay, next we're going to talk about navigation in the next video. Thank you.